I'm toying with the idea of putting Penske shocks on the front of the car as well. So in order to do that, I need to know what spring rate to order. Obviously, that would involve a complete redesign of the front suspension because I'd no longer be using the rocker arms and all that stuff. So what I'm going to do is remove the rear shock, one rear shock, and I'm going to fit it to the front of the car in approximately the position it would be if I were to order front Penske shocks, and do some careful measuring of how much the shock moves compared to the movement of the front wheels. So that's what I'm going to do, so follow along. Now that I have the shocks off and I have all that mechanism removed, I need to put the car down at ride height, like its normal ride height, and then that's how you would measure. Well, you'll see. But what I did was I made up these little plates with these adjustable bolts, and they go under the frame rails of the car to keep it at the ride height that it would be, like a normal ride height. So that's where I'm gonna put it, and then we'll start measuring this up on the front end. Okay, so I need to measure the difference, the change in length of the shock, when the suspension moves up an inch or 2 inches or whatever. So what I did was I took a little piece of aluminum and I sharpened it. You can see that. And I'm going to stick it in here in the little holes for adjustment. It just fits tightly in there. All right, so that, like so. And then I'm going to take this other piece of aluminum. I'm going to put it down on the bottom of the shock. Now this is normal ride height right now, and I'm just going to scratch it back and forth. Put a little scratch, Put a little scratch in that aluminum. And now I'll move the suspension up 1 inch, like if the tire was moving up 1 inch, and then I'll measure the difference between this scratch and the next scratch. All right, so I took a 1 inch block of steel and I put it underneath here, and now I will check the length of the shock again. Okay, so it's pretty clear here how much it changed. And now let's check it with my calipers. That looks like 0.6, it's flashing back and forth between 0.67. So 0.67 inches. So 1 inch of suspension movement results in 0.67 inches of shock movement. I'm gonna do another inch and check it again. Okay. Let's check that one now. Yep, it's exactly the same. The other thing I need to calculate how stiff a spring I'll need on here is the angle of the shock. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use my tilt meter app. Looks like it's at 30-degree angle. All right, so I'll use that and I'll figure out how stiff a spring I'm going to need on there.